WWE is apparently interested in working with Ronda Rousey again. Now, a lot of people are like, this is, even if it is, I think one of two things. Either WWE could have floated this out to try and like price her out or it's a mixture of these two things. Shayna Baszler, Ronda Rousey, Marina Shafir, and then maybe Jessamine Duke, but they don't even need her. They just get the other three to do like their horsewomen in AEW. I think Tony Khan would pay for that. Like Ronda Rousey gets headlines beyond just pro wrestling. And here's the thing though. She's really tight with Dana White and TKO and Endeavor, like before the merger with WWE and all that. Then you factor in, she was there when Vince was there. Then you factor in what's the greatest thing she ever did in WWE when Triple H controlled it and booked it and did that tag match with her. So he wants to get his hands back on that. I know for sure Triple H would want to get his hands back on that and do that properly. I don't think she wants to do any of this stuff. UFC would fight her if she wanted to. She draws her name is like is on Ellen, and you guys get it? Like, I know her clout's not as great as it once was. She's not as big of a draw as she once was for sure. But in the fight world, if Ronda came back, a bunch of people would tune in to see her get beat up again, for sure, just so they could be like, "Oh, see, she ain't about it." Da 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 da. Now, I don't know. I could see WWE floating like that out there once the IWC or whoever starts floating out. Hey, Shayna, Rousey, or they catch wind. Rousey and Bloodsport would be really cool, but I don't see Rousey coming back to anything just because she doesn't want to. But maybe if Tony Khan's like 2 million and it's her and Shayna and Marina, then who knows? Like, money talks. So again, this last NXT, it was a good show. It was awesome. It was one of the best NXTs in a while. I watched it today. The Battle Royal was sick. Having the LFG and Evolve and everybody crossing over again. I keep this graphic in here because it's good to just remind ourselves. And then TNA's somewhere in there too, but they just bleed over into NXT and above, right? Because they're not technically owned, but TNA would be like right above or, just a little bit below NXT there. But we keep that in there just because it's awesome. And one thing we got, though, was Jordynne Grace taking on Giulia. And Jordynne Grace up that dive to the outside, caught flack, got defensive about it. Then those people on TNA wrestling in the match with, you had Kazarian and you had Top Dollar and you had Akeem and you had a bunch of guys, man. A bunch of those TNA folks over there who missed Leon Slater catching him. Well, AJ Francis saved his goddamn life, but everybody else sort of missed him. And then Jordynne Grace was sort of coping over that. And then you had, I'm watching Dynamite at the same time. And then you have Jordynne Grace sort of botching this move with Giulia, dropping her on her head really badly. And Corey Graves' reaction is nasty. I don't want to get pulled for this. I'm going to play it. I hope Giulia's okay. You guys know what I'm saying? Look at this. Like, that is not good, man. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, my God. What's protecting Giulia's head? Do you guys see that? What's protecting her head? Oh, my God. Oh! Like, right when she lands, man. Look at that. Oh, my God. Roster, she's a hot commodity right now. I don't know if that's what you want to do. Just put people in situations where that's going to happen. Now, I am a Jordynne Grace fan. Just slow it down a bit. That's a couple fuck ups in a row. I don't want to see cope this time over, dropping people on their heads. Logan Paul took out Jey Uso after Raw went off air. And then Triple H tweeted out, he's like, the show never ends or whatever. It's awesome that you have Jay like mixed up in all these different things and you have a lot going on. So the main event picture is really interesting, you know? Especially you had Logan Paul to the mix, right? Here we go. Let's look. Elijah returned as well, and the crowd was like, "Oh, walk with Elias," and then he's like, "My name's Elijah," and it's like, man, if people are in TNA, WWE, work out a deal where TNA people can just use their WWE names if they want in TNA, because like, come on, bro, you had Dango. Elias, why is he called Elijah? Just let him call himself Elias. Like, it's just a one-word name. Either I get protecting your IP and all that, but still, like, he got a big reaction. TNA Impact Elijah. Walk with Elias, but then he's like, my name's Elijah. And they're all like, and then he just won them over with the guitar. So congratulations to former WWE champion Big E and his wife-to-be Chris Yim, Mia Yim's sister. And yeah, they're getting married. Here is John Cena doing current WWE champion. Imagine that in 2025, John Cena doing promo for Peacemaker that's coming out, season 2. And I'm curious to see how my guy Gunn ties that whole thing in, because that's the only thing that existed in the old DCEU and the new DCU, I guess. But yeah, Shaq and Charles Barkley get into a little wrestling match. AEW Super. Well, it didn't last very long there. About that lasted longer than Shaq's time in AEW. Hey-o, where's my badoomps? So more on Ronda Rousey. WWE reportedly would like to work with her. Well, they would always like to work with her, right? And so this is all it requires. If they say, hey, Ronda, we don't want her going to AEW. We don't want you going there. And then Dana White picks up the phone. She's going to be loyal to that. Okay? So just keep that in mind. But will they do that? I don't fucking know. Do they really want to work with her? I don't know. I don't think they need her, to be honest. But I mean, if they bring Becky in, maybe like a run where they book it correctly and then she just like has her finale at Mania and that's it. And then she puts someone over. So maybe, but I don't know, right? We already seen it. I don't want to see it again, but would they swoop in to keep her away from AEW? I could see it. I could definitely see it. But speaking of AEW, Ring of Honor and AEW talent, The Righteous, asked for their releases. We're going to talk about it more in AEW news, because all these fucking sickos are like, oh, there's a difference between contract expiring and getting a release. It's like, man, the point I'm making is there's no fucking fanfare when people leave AEW. Now there is, when it's the fucking Lucha Bros, when they get ghosted, and the people, when it's like Ricky Starks or the Lucha Bros and people want to see those guys. And even the AEW fans are like, damn, The Righteous, there's not much. Like, they just silently ask for their release and people don't really care because they didn't do much with them. Oh, they, MJF beat them both in one night on his own after they came in for 2 weeks and broke people's ankles and were put over like this big bad team. And so Karrion Kross, though, putting hype on The Righteous. And this is fucking awesome. And if Karrion started a faction, these are more his guys. The Righteous, not AOP, the Authors of Pain with Ellering. That was silly. Karrion, Scarlett, and The Righteous, this could fucking work, man. So Karrion doing brilliant work, man. Gonna get a big push in the coming. Listen to the music that he hears. And then he starts snapping. Doing their shtick. Hell yeah. That's amazing. If I was Cross, I would have snapped like once or twice, 3 times, then just cut it off right there. But hey, good for him. He knows what he's doing. And let's see it. I would love to see that. So yeah, and then they responded too. Dutch responded with like a musical note or something, or like the snapping emoji or whatever. So breaking, actually here, let me play breaking news as we get into this next part here. The WWE ID title tournaments will continue on June 8th in Long Island, New York. Already signed Timothy Thatcher, Kylie Ray, Swipe Right of Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes, Sean Legacy, Marcus Mathers, Jackson Drake, Zara Zacher, plus many more to be announced. So there you go. We have the global ambassador, Titus O'Neil, has been announced for the new dating series King's Court with Bravo, so that's cool. King's Court is a spin-off of the Peacock original series Queen's Court. Per the show's announcement about the new Bravo dating show, in each episode, the Kings take the women on fun, adventurous dates to discover which of them tug at their heartstrings. The ladies pull out all the stops to make a lasting impression, but it comes to a head at the elimination dinner party when the men choose who gets another chance at love and who goes home. After navigating a roller coaster of emotional highs, dramatic lows, and tough eliminations, the Kings must ultimately decide which of these fabulous ladies is their queen. So shout him out, man, doing the show. I didn't even know he's single, but he's winning dad awards as a single dad. That's fucking gangster. Miles Bourne will challenge Obafemi for the NXT championship at Battleground. So we talked about it earlier. Jordynne Grace was a little sloppy shop there. She dropped Giulia on her head. She was also, coping and deleting posts over the wrestlers who dropped Leon Slater. And she was coping a bit after that dive that she did, that she botched as well. She's got to slow it down. She's dropping people on their heads. Another shocking moment was Miles Bourne, dude. And Ren Kowski right behind him. He gets a shot at Battleground. He's obviously going to get his ass kicked, but this is cool. Give him a shot. Might as well. And let's see him live up to the hype a little bit. And no one was expecting him to win that shit. It was a really, really great episode of NXT. Simon Miller said that today WWE has been WWE longer than WWF was the WWF. And this is as of yesterday. So as we go on, we remember everybody, all the times we
wrestling for dirtbags and lily pickers.
As of yesterday, the WWE's been WWE longer than the WWF was the WWF. Fucking crazy, man. So here's R-Truth explaining his iconic photo with Tupac. Not only do I know, hey, all my New York listeners, I'm also down with the Cali, the West Coast, all right? We're going back to Cali. See what I did there? A little East Coast, West Coast crossover blend reference there. You guys know what I'm saying?
What's the story behind that iconic photo of you and Tupac?
Oh, wow.
Because people don't think this is real.
Really?
There's a lot of people that think this is either photoshopped or maybe AI. They don't.
AI wasn't around then. No. Okay, y'all remember when I told y'all I was down here in the streets playing with that candy and stuff? Okay, so I was using that money. I was a show opener for any act that came through North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. I was hustling my CDs. Well, back then I had little cassette tapes. I was hustling my videos, everything music I was hustling off. And they had these things called Jack the Rapper conventions. And they would go everywhere. And it would be where the A&Rs are, the record reps, everybody would be at. You come there, you audition, and you get signed. So I would follow those places around, man. Like every year I would go around. It lasts for like a good 3 months. And I would meet Tupac. He would be there at the Jack the Rapper convention. And it was just him, easy. Like it would be so many celebrities there. It's almost like it was the WrestleMania of the record industry. So imagine that. That's what I was him there.
Were you friends with Tupac?
It was just a hangout thing, seeing him there all the time there.
Wow.
Yeah, man, like everybody's trying to, he had just done Juice.
R-Truth is like, yeah, man, I just said the candies earlier, we were, yeah, bro, we were chilling, It's so funny. He laid it down perfectly, but Van Vliet's like, oh, really?
So he had like pretty much made it, you know what I'm saying?
That's awesome. So R-Truth was an opening act for
what's the story
Tupac
behind
back in the day? The more you know. So let me see here. Turbo Josh Terry, who is the former, who was this? Riley Osborne, right? So a fake story that Bryan Alvarez puts out there, right? So we'll give a fucking try and Bryan for Bryan. Bryan's like, one of the biggest things was there are people that they want to go and help out Evolve. And I was told he did not want to go to Evolve, and he made it very well known. And then Osborne, now known as Turbo Josh Terry, says, I worked the first set of Evolve tapings the day after my wife was released. When I was told by head coach on a phone call that night, I can have it off tomorrow if I need time with my wife, as we had to pull out of the house we were like 2 weeks from closing on. All I had to do was tell him, yeah, I'd like just a day to be with her. I was the first person in the building the next day and was commended on my professionalism. I will not have my work ethic questioned when I was busting my ass off in rehab to return, which I knew the return would have been on Evolve. Not everything you read online is true. So again, just lying ass. We'll give him a fucking flute for that one. Lion Bryan. All right. Trying his ass off. Try hard, Bryan there. So Becky Lynch questions why she got compared to a scummy person like Hulk Hogan. And she says, my nose doesn't like sit perfectly straight anymore. My shoulder is popping out. I've got scars on my arms. All of this because what I've given to the industry. Like, I wear the scars of what I've done on my body. I wear them with pride because all I've given back. And these people go around and they compare me to the scummy person on earth after everything I've done, after everything that I've done for them. Yeah, I see how that could be, but they're comparing just the wrestling. They're not comparing outside of wrestling. So for wrestling, Hulk Hogan gave his entire body too, right? And so they're just comparing like how you just insert yourself, not the outside stuff, but I get why you wouldn't want to be compared, right? That's like saying, oh, what Charles Manson did in prison is what I'm comparing you to, not the murders outside. Whatever. But yeah, 23 years ago today, WWF was renamed to WWE. Crazy. Get the F out, right? So Randy Orton opens up to Billboard about the WrestleMania 41 match. And he just said that to summate it. He's like, there was a lot up in the air and there was a short list of names. And I was the one pushing for Hendry. And I really wanted Hendry. And they were iffy about it, but I'm glad I did it, you know? And he was happy to soak it all up. So there you go. All these marks, Dave Meltzer literally diminishing Randy Orton and Joe Hendry and being like, Suzuki versus a blow-up doll would have been better, is essentially what he was saying. And he compared Hendry to a broomstick. And that's what he fucking did. He did that. We covered it on the show. He can fuck off, and Orton wanted Hendry. So Rey Mysterio versus Jushin Thunder Liger from WCW Starrcade 96 was at one point planned to be included in the Rey Mysterio Showcase for 22. So there you go, man. The graphic for the match was found in the 22 files and everything. See, if you go back on my old Twitter, I was going off about this because that's what was floating around. And Jushin, they had everything ready to go. They just didn't add him in the game. There was no build for him. And that's a whole like rights thing and everything. And they just decided not to pull the trigger on that. But shout out Jushin, and hopefully we get him in. He's in the Hall of Fame, man. Every year they should go, here's the Hall of Fame DLC pack or whatever. I think that's the way to do it. Anyways, a new public filing, Thirsty Thurston, says that in the WWE shareholder lawsuit shows, plaintiffs say Vince McMahon is resisting turning over evidence related to misconduct allegations. Issues they argue are key to understanding his motives that led the merger of WWE with UFC. I'm withholding shit, pal. Not shit. That's a bad use of words. And it's definitely not under the seat of my plane in the hidden compartment. I mean, there's kitties in there, if you must know. So more of X-Pac. Speaking of Pac, Tupac, we got X-Pac in the building, okay? I can see a guy like real Karrion Kross get really over. He puts him over. And X-Pac, if you go back years, like maybe almost a goddamn decade ago when Karrion Kross was in Impact, and there's clips of X-Pac on AfterBuzz TV being like, hey, man, this Karrion Kross guy, like they should scoop him up and da-da-da-da-da. So he puts him over strong here, and I think this guy's getting geared up here, Karrion Kross, for a big push in WWE.
Is there a name or two right now that you're really enjoying their work, that you're really, really high on, that the old you would have loved to, have a feud with?
I'm a big Damian Priest fan. Like I kind of helped mentor him a little bit, so I'm always going to mention him. Man, there's a lot of guys in there. Jacob Fatu, I'm real high on. Like I would have had great matches with him. Like because I was a good David and Goliath guy. You know, I could do that really well. Like for the women, man, like Io Sky is amazing. Bianca Belair, it's just a total package to me. honestly. So, and it's just hard, man, because I don't want to leave a bunch of people out that are amazing and incredibly talented, but they stick out to me.
Can I tell you someone who's like under the radar right now? Maybe not, certainly not online, who's doing incredible stuff. Karrion Kross. I really love. I don't know if you've seen any
for sure.
His videos that he's been posting on.
Yeah.
I love when guys just say, you know what, I'm just gonna take matters into my own hands. I'm gonna try to control my own destiny. Yeah. Maybe I'm not getting the shine or the opportunities on television, but there are other ways to get over. I think he's doing this wonderfully.
Yeah, you go like if they're not, do what you got to do, man. Like it reminds me of Matt Cardona when he was doing like Zack Ryder and like doing those little like shooting his own angles and like putting stuff online, his own little talk shows or whatever. It's vignettes and everything, getting yourself over. And I could see a guy like Karrion Kross being frustrated and like feeling like he's got all this talent, like a hell of a look, and just hey man, like I'm right here, man. Give him the ball, let him see how far he runs with it.
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to see him in that U.S. title picture. Mixing it up. Travis Scott is training with Booker T for his in-ring WWE debut. Sucker. Hopefully he can pull it off, man. He's no spring chicken. Tools Adam Jones lays down ripping guitar riff for WWE's Penta. So Penta's theme, and this is from the Anthony Fantano. He's the needle drop, the guy who reviews music and shit. And, rappers have beefed with him a bunch. And, dude, Tools Adam Jones crushes it, and he's reviewing WWE Penta's theme, which is fucking amazing. Speaking of luchadors, El Grande Americano is your new WWE Speed Champion. So, ole to you, good sir. Randy Orton names his Mount Rushmore of female rappers. Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, Megan Thee Stallion, Glorilla. Hold on a second, though. Mount Rushmore? Hold on a second. You got to go back. If Missy Elliott and shit, and maybe he's like, no, I like bars and shit. Maybe that's what he's looking at. Maybe he's a bars guy, But as far as like, I don't know. I feel Missy Elliott has to be on everyone's list. You have to go back further, too, than that. I mean, you have like Salt and Peppa and stuff like that, You got to go back, I think, further if we're talking Mount Rushmore, but maybe he's just talking right now. This is who he likes. So good for Randy Orton. He's into it. Into the female rappers there. So Karrion Kross currently has the third top selling t-shirt on WWE Shop. Speaking of Orton and Kross sits just behind Randy Orton and John Cena as the third highest merch seller right now. We want it. The people demand it, Triple H. Stop being a coward. Let's fucking do this, okay?
Wrestling's not fake!
Push our guy, man. He can do it. Give him the ball, like X-Pac said. Here is Dani Palmer, who was recently released and retired. She just retired from pro wrestling. I think she's only like 27 years old. And she shows off the finisher she never got to debut. And I told y'all, I was like, listen, Dani Palmer, every NXT match she had was her tryout for AEW, Look at this shit. Look at this crazy flip. What is that? An inverted... I don't even know what that's called, but go do that in AEW. She retired, which I think we have a statement from her here. Yes. So she's only 27 years old. Okay. And she says, honestly, so at peace. My body was trying to tell me it was time. My mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me yes. What a fun friggin' athletic career, though. 1000% convinced I wasn't brought to WWE to wrestle, but to meet Tank Ledger. Oh, so this is Tank's wife, dude. He's a current tag champion. Thank you, God. Well, I'm glad she's happy. It really had to end like this, though. I would have never quit. I've been going balls to the wall since I was like 9. 2 hip surgeries and blew my knee out in the past 2 years. Oof. I've been refined so much and got crazy tough when I thought I couldn't get tougher. God's been preparing me for what's next, and it is making me smile so big. Also, catch me at Pilates and on Hot Girl Walks. Start a YouTube channel where you do Hot Girl Walks and fucking Pilates. That's what you do. And just don't succumb to like, oh, I love your flips. Because all I'm saying, man, she was doing some crazy shit. Go back, watch her matches, but they didn't make sense. Like, she'd set up a spot where You know, she just stuff in extra flips that didn't need to be there and shit. And you're like, okay, she'd be great on what was that shit called? Dark or Dark Elevation or whatever. So Lucha Libre Online says Alberto Del Rio deserves a second chance in WWE / AAA. Here's the thing, man. He's contracted through Triple Mania as a talent. I could see him mixing it up with the WWE talent, getting the belt off him. Maybe a Rey Mysterio. Maybe you just do that. Why the fuck not? Maybe someone like Penta or some beats him, gets the belt. And if he's still super hot and selling as a heel, I could see potentially them working with him in AAA, just not in NXT and all that stuff. He already works behind the scenes, so he will be kept on behind the scenes regardless to produce and do shit like that. I'm thinking for sure on the AAA end. And so they're really pushing. They put him on the alumni section, people saying he deserves a second chance. I don't know. That's for the people to decide, and Paige and I guess the IWC. I don't know. Randy Orton talks more with Billboard and says he was initially going to change his entrance theme for his return in 2023. Thank God he hasn't. It's already 2025, man. Feel alive. And then, so the decision was made to keep it. The plan was still to change it at some point down the line. So he says, matter of fact, I was going to change it from my back surgery. Then we go to Lyon, France. And I think it was a year ago that we were there. And I mean, everything changed. The whole place was singing my song word for word. And from the point forward, every venue, every show, no matter where we're at, more or less, the crowd is singing or at least trying to sing my song. I ain't changing it now. Yeah, don't change it. If you can keep old themes, like imagine a Def Rebel Randy Orton theme. Nobody wants that. I don't want that, as Theo Vaughn would say. Ladies and gentlemen, gear up because it is Ren's Day. And although we've seen some releases, Ren is definitely doing well on this Ren's Day because last night her guy, Miles Bourne, is the number one contender against Trick Williams. And yeah, it's Ren's Day. It's also Rusev Day, so I don't know how he feels about that. But let's hear what Ren Sinclair, Maddie Renkowski has to say here today on this beautiful Ren's Day.
Hey guys, happy Ren's Day. This early morning edition is brought to you by I Can't Sleep because NXT was kind of weird last night. I mean, Miles won and he's going to face Oba, and then Charles was all like, I am actually. It was weird, right? But we are going to get to our questions. So question number 1, moving along. Pokemon versus Digimon. Pokemon.
Oh, I was going to pause and say, what do you guys think she says? I was going to say Pokemon is better personally, although I did fucks with Digimon early. You know, early Digimon, right? Like the second movie, like up until there. I think the season where they got to where like the kids Digimon was in real life or whatever, but not because of the original cast, you know, that's where I kind of fell off. I don't know if you guys remember that season or if that's making sense, but I was going to ask you guys what she picked. I'm glad she picked Pokemon, but let's hear her reason why.
Moving along. Pokemon versus Digimon. Pokemon. Never seen Digimon. I actually thought that the little orange thing was Raichu when I was younger. Sorry.
Yes.
Question number 2. Okay, but like I know they had the catch clause before where like anyone could defend the Heritage Cup, but like it was weird, right?
She's calling out the booking. Breaking the fourth wall. Ren Pool. Let's go, dude.
Question number 2. What's your favorite horror movie? Speed round. When I was younger, it was Orphan. When I was growing up, it was The Conjuring. I think that's the one with Mr. Boogie. If that's the one with Mr. Boogie, it scared the heck out of me. That one. And more recently, I do like Trick or Treat. I just recently saw it for the first time, like a year ago. So yeah. Question number 3. What song hypes you up the most? So if we're talking about in like days.
Those were shit selections for movies, by the way. Just kidding. Trick or Treat's like pretty.
About in like daily life, it's going to be Leave Before You Love Me by the Jonas Brothers. I'll set my alarm to that and I'll play it in the car. If not that, like Morgan Wallen or something like that. And a sad song because, you know, if it's just like words, I cannot speak. Words aren't wording. It's early. If we're talking about like in the gym or like before a match, nothing. I just go off pure adrenaline and anxiety because
And anxiety.
hold on, partner, I'm overstimulated. Always. And also, it just popped in my head. I forgot to tell you all what my favorite rides were at Epic Universe. So those will show like right now.
Her ride ranking: Monsters Unchained, Harry Potter, Minecart Madness, Wing Glider, Mario Kart, Fire Drill, Constellation Carousel, Yoshi's Adventure, Dragon Rally Racer.
Also, bear in mind, disclaimer, I didn't ride Stardust Racer or the Wolfman because I'm not good at riding roller coasters.
A very personal Ren's Day here, where it got very personal. A look into the funniest part too is how she reads the questions off her hand, but like when you look at her hand, there's nothing written there. So to me, that pops me every time. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was WWE news. Round of applause for me and for you.